Hello and welcome to my 10-minute tutorial for dropping back into the wheel pose. So basically this is a tutorial which is going to guide you through some exercises to help you to get to dropping back into that wheel pose. This is something that I would have, if not towards um, the kind of middle to end, certainly at the end of my practice. So basically you need to be very warm, lots of back strengthening and mobility exercises before coming to this. Also, for example, making sure that you have the wheel in your practice before you come to this. And then maybe also doing, for example, walking back into the wheel pose using the wall. Okay. As far as props go today, you will need a block. This is as a progression, so you can choose whether you use it or not. Okay, so as this is something that will come at the end of your practice, make sure you're nice and warm, nice and prepared. And we're going to start just by coming into that wheel pose from the ground, just so that we can kind of get that feel for it. So coming down onto the mat, taking your feet hip distance apart, lowering the back down to the mat, grounding down through the feet, taking the hips a little bit closer to the heels, taking the hands behind so that the wrist, the base of the wrist is at the top of the mat, and you're turning your hands back so that your fingers are facing towards your feet. Lifting the hips as you inhale, and then increasing that up to the bridge. So what we want is to have our hands under our shoulders, open chest, shoulders back, taking those feet hip distance, grounding down through the feet. Then exhale as you lower the body down, turning onto your side, and then coming up to standing. So I would make sure that I've done this a few times before I come to this kind of drop down to the wheel. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do after we've done that kind of just wheel practice is come to what I would call a wide angled wheel pose. So taking the feet quite wide, almost to the edge of the mat or even further, turning the feet out, facing forward, open chest, taking some nice deep breaths. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our arms out wide, which is going to really increase the availability of this wheel pose for us. So feet out wide, turning them out so we've got almost what we call second position, but quite a wide second position. Okay, facing forward, open chest. We're going to take that back bend, take the arms out wide, and then come into that kind of wide wheel pose. Take a breath. Exhale as you lower yourself down to the ground. Bring the feet in and turn over onto the side. So with that wide angled stance, it really increases availability and helps us to kind of get into that feel of dropping down into the wheel pose. It also really improves our confidence because that's one of the biggest things here. So the next step that we're going to take is to bring the feet in a little bit narrower, so they're on the inside of the mat. I would do that wide angle stance, dropping back into the wheel pose 3 or 4 times before I come to this next step. So next, taking the feet inside the mat. Okay, so you've got your feet parallel, open chest, shoulders back. We're still going to take our arms out wide, but the difference here is that the feet are parallel, so they're not turned out. So open chest, shoulders back. Bending the knees, coming into that back bend, and then taking the arms out wide. So breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in now as you bend the knees, coming back into that back bend. Open chest. Exhale as you lower yourself down. And then turn yourself over and come up to standing. Okay, so again with that one, I would do it 2 or 3 times before moving on to the next. So you're developing your strength, the technique, and also the confidence there as well. The next one is going to be bringing the feet in narrow as we've just done, this time taking the hands above the head, okay? You can choose whether you stay at either the first variation that we did, the second, or come to this one. So again, feet inside the mat, feet parallel, open chest, shoulders back. And also what I suggest is that you might feel, to increase the availability, is that you just lift the heels slightly as you come back into that wheel pose, and that's absolutely fine. So feet parallel, shoulders back down and relaxed, open chest. Breathe in, so a nice preparatory breath. Breathe out. And then coming back into that back bend, taking the arms up above the head or choosing to take them out wide. Exhale, open chest, breathe in, breathe out, lower the back down. Well done. So we have 3 options there, okay. Again, I would do each one 3 or 4 times and get really confident before I move on to the next one. The last one that we're going to look at is taking a block and using this to set the feet a little bit narrower. Okay, so placing that block at that kind of position where you've got your feet, where you've been placing your feet. Taking your feet either side. Again, for me, I'm still finding it helpful just to lift my heels slightly as I come back into that wheel pose. So, feet either side of the block, open chest, shoulders back, taking some deep breaths to prepare. And then when you're ready, open chest, shoulders back, coming back into that back bend, bending the knees. Holding that block in between the feet, open chest, shoulders back. Breathe in. Breathe out as you lower yourself down. Turning round. And then coming back up. And again, to increase your confidence, improve your technique, doing it 3 or 4 times. So again, what would happen now, because it is towards the end of our practice, you really then need to do some really nice flowing, dynamic counter postures before you come into your rest, to make sure that you really recover from doing that drop back into the wheel pose. So I hope that you have enjoyed this 10-minute tutorial. Keep practicing. It all comes with practice. I think that's where the term practice comes from. So just enjoy it, enjoy the journey. Don't be hard on yourself. No judgment, no expectation. The journey is yours, yours for you to experience and yours for you to enjoy. Thank you very much for joining me. and I hope you will join me again in further practices. So from here, in a very hot Sri Lanka, may the light in my heart honor the light in yours. Namaste.